It started with a cucumber that was all Nora needed, one single green cucumber from the refrigerator a mere 20 feet away from the stove where she stood. The kitchen was a humid prison of her own making, the wok spat hot, angry oil, coating the air with a fine, greasy mist that settled on her skin. The scent of garlic and ginger, usually comforting, now felt suffocatingly thick. Every muscle in her back ached from standing, from chopping, from the sheer, thankless effort of creating a meal she herself had little appetite for. From the living room, a different world, the roar of digital battle, the frantic, almost violent clicking of a controller, and her husband's voice, sharp and commanding, a general leading a phantom army. On your left, shield up, watch the flank, you idiot. Nora squeezed her eyes shut for a second, a bead of sweat tracing a path down her temple. Another Tuesday, another feast for the king and his queen mother, cooked by the court jester. She took a steadying breath, the air burning her lungs. Seth, she called out, her voice tight, strained to be heard over the cacophony. Could you grab me a cucumber from the fridge? The clicking paused, a beat of blessed silence. Then, his voice, laced with the sharp impatience of a king, interrupted mid-decree. Babe, where do we even keep the cucumbers? The question hung in the air, so stunningly absurd, so utterly dismissive of the 3 years she had spent managing every single detail of their shared life. He asked it with the genuine bewilderment of a tourist in his own home. Nora felt something inside her, a cord of resilience that had been stretched taut for 1,000 days, finally audibly snap. Her eyes, weary and burning, fell on the heavy cast-iron spatula resting by the stove. Just then, as if summoned by the rising tension, her mother-in-law, Diana, drifted into the kitchen. She wasn't walking. She was floating on a cloud of self-satisfaction, fanning her perfectly powdered face with a glossy magazine. Her eyes swept over the organized chaos of the kitchen with a faint, almost imperceptible air of disapproval. He's a man, Nora, darling, she said with a placid, infuriatingly sweet smile, as if imparting ancient, sacred wisdom. How would he know where the vegetables are? Nora looked at Diana's perfectly manicured, pale pink nails that hadn't touched a raw vegetable in decades. She looked at her serene, entitled face, and in that moment a cold, terrifyingly clear calm washed over her. The rage didn't vanish, it simply crystallized into something hard and sharp. She picked up the spatula. It felt heavier than usual, a solid, tangible extension of her will. The black iron of the spatula was still warm, humming with the wok's residual heat, a low thrum of energy that vibrated up Nora's arm. Her gaze was a spotlight, pinning Diana to the kitchen floor. In the split second before the world changed, she saw it. A flicker of smug triumph in her mother-in-law's eyes. The look said, see, I'm still his number one. You were just the help. That was the final catalyst. In one swift, fluid, shockingly precise movement, Nora's wrist flipped. The greasy, heavy spatula, the scepter of her domestic prison, a symbol of 3 years of thankless servitude, was no longer in her hand. Splat. It wasn't thrown, it was pressed, firmly and deliberately, into Diana's soft, uncalloused palm. The action was fast, clean, and carried the weight of an ultimatum, a silent, searing transfer of responsibility. You're right, Nora said, her voice dangerously soft, a silken thread of vengeance. Since you know so much, you can make dinner. The heat, a dull, spreading warmth, registered a second too late on Diana's pampered skin. I.e., Diana shrieked, a sound like a startled, exotic bird. She dropped the spatula as if it were a venomous scorpion, her hand flying to her mouth. The iron tool clattered loudly on the pristine tile floor, the sound echoing in the sudden, tense silence. Mom, be careful. Seth's voice, now stripped of its digital bravado and laced with genuine, panicked alarm, cut through the air. He was off the couch in an instant, his game, his kingdom, his entire world forgotten, his neck craned to see the drama unfolding in the kitchen. His precious mother had been endangered. Diana, her face a chaotic, blotchy mix of red and white, fumbled to pick up the fallen spatula. Her lips trembled as she pointed a shaking, accusatory finger at Nora. You've lost your mind. Is that how you speak to an elder? Shoving hot things at me. It's an assault, Seth. Look at her. Look at what she's become. Seth materialized at the kitchen doorway like a loyal knight, his brow furrowed into a deep, angry knot. He didn't see a wife at her breaking point. He saw an attacker. Nora, what the hell are you doing? You burned my mom. She could be seriously hurt. Apologize to her now. Apologize. The word was so laughably inadequate. Nora looked at his filial piety on steroids face, at Diana's masterful performance of a deeply wronged matriarch, clutching her hand as if it were mortally wounded. The years of their carefully constructed excuses. My mom's not well. From Seth. Seth never did chores growing up. He's not used to it. From Diana. All coalesced into a single point of white-hot rage in her chest. Apologize, she scoffed, a dry, rasping sound. Her voice suddenly rose, sharp and clear, easily overpowering the hiss of the dying wok. Oh, I will. Her hand shot out, not to help Diana, not to retrieve the damned spatula, but to the beautifully arranged plate on the counter. With a vicious, liberating sweep of her arm, the plate of freshly chopped, vibrant green bok choy went flying. Crash. The sound of shattering porcelain was a symphony to her frayed nerves. The emerald leaves, slick with juice and glistening with potential, slapped against the clean white tiles in a pathetic, gloriously messy heap. I'm so sorry, Mom, I was wrong. Nora's voice was a blade of ice, each word a perfectly aimed dart at Diana's instantly pale, horrified face. I shouldn't have asked your precious golden boy, your prince, to lift a single finger, and I certainly shouldn't have risked you soiling your perfect hands with the kind of work the lower sort does. My mistake, a terrible mistake. You rest, your son can rest, everybody just rest. She was a whirlwind of righteous fury. She spun around, and with a sharp, definitive click, twisted the gas valve off. The blue flame died with a soft whoosh, leaving only a wisp of resentful white smoke. She ripped the apron, a gift from him for their first anniversary, from her waist, balled it up into a tight, angry knot, and slammed it onto the greasy countertop. The dull, heavy thud was the sound of something inside her breaking for good. Ignoring the two figures frozen in a tableau of shock and disbelief, Nora stalked out of the kitchen. Her stride was purposeful, her target was locked. Seth's PlayStation 5. The sleek black box sat there, its ethereal blue light glowing like like a malevolent alien eye. The television screen, now silent, still displayed the battlefield he had just abandoned, a monument to his priorities. What are you doing? Seth finally found his voice. It was tinged with a new kind of fear, a primal terror that had nothing to do with his mother's well-being. He was too late. Nora, her face a mask of cold, serene indifference, reached out a single, steady finger. She aimed for the small, unassuming power button, the gateway to his electronic paradise, and pressed. A soft electronic sigh, a whisper of dying current. The screen, with its glorious chaos, his characters, dazzling, hard-won title, and the small, brightly flashing, autosaving icon in the bottom corner, all of it was swallowed by an abyss of absolute, unforgiving black. The blue light died. The console was now just a cold, silent, plastic brick. The world was quiet, deathly quiet, the kind of silence that presses in on your eardrums. The only sound in the living room was the faint, indifferent hum of the refrigerator's compressor kicking in. The blood drained from Seth's face, leaving it a waxy, horrified white. His eyes were glued to the dead screen, wide with a dawning, catastrophic understanding. His lips trembled, opening and closing, making a strange, fish-out-of-water gasping sound as his brain struggled to process the apocalypse that had just occurred. Then it came, a scream so raw, so shattered, so filled with the agony of a soul being ripped from its body, it felt like it could crack the very foundation of their home. He lunged at the console, his movements jerky and uncoordinated. His fingers, usually so deft on the controller, jabbed frantically, uselessly, at the unresponsive power button. He scrambled to the floor, yanking the power strip from the wall and plugging it back in, his actions as clumsy and desperate as a caveman trying to start a fire. My save, my platinum save, he wailed, the words tearing from his throat, thick with utter devastation. He collapsed onto his knees, his hands clutching his head. 3 months of grinding, my god tier loot, my stats, it's gone, mom. It's all gone, it's all gone. He whipped his head around, his bloodshot eyes locking onto Nora. The look in them was a terrifying cocktail of disbelief, incandescent fury, and a hatred so pure, so personal, it was shocking. He looked at her not as if she had turned off a toy but as if she had personally, methodically murdered his entire family before his eyes. Nora, are you insane? Do you have any idea how important that was? What did you do? What did I do? Nora leaned against the cool wall, her arms crossed, a spectator at his one-man tragedy, watching his world-ending, operatic despair. The last dregs of her own suffocation were replaced by a cold, almost cruel, sense of detached satisfaction. Her gaze drifted past his heaving shoulders to Diana, who was stunned into absolute silence, her own fabricated injury forgotten in the face of her son's apocalyptic grief. What did I do? Nora repeated, her voice calm and even, a sliver of steel that easily cut through Seth's hysterical sobs. She tilted her head slightly, a gesture of mock curiosity, and slowly recited Diana's earlier sacred wisdom. You're